There's a part of me that thinks, am I supposed to be really polarizing? You don't need 100% of the market. 20% is fine. Doesn't matter if the other 80% hate you, as long as the 20% really love you. They've got to understand that.
Today on the potty, Declan caught up with industry powerhouse Lee Pollard. Join us and learn how Lee built P&C Partners, mastered high-performing teams, and launched his own recruitment agency.
When business happens that fast, you sort of get over shit pretty quick.
Yeah.
We've had stuff happen that would be eye-watering to most people and crack on and keep going.
Absolutely.
So many of our agencies, they're just not well at marketing themselves.
Yeah.
They either don't do it, they fly by the night.
Yeah, there's a part of me that thinks, am I supposed to be really polarizing? Does a really polarizing view on a particular issue help me or hinder me? Because there's so many things I've listened to in marketing that suggest that you don't need 100% of the market. 20% is fine. Doesn't matter if the other 80% hate you, as long as the 20% really love you.
Yeah, I've learned. Yeah, you don't want to be in the middle.
No.
You want people to absolutely love you or unfortunately absolutely hate you.
Yeah.
But at least they feel something.
Just not a whole really all that
Yeah, not
comfortable
everyone.
with people hating me. Very aware that people probably do. But,
Yeah. Yeah, the stories we start to get here back is funny.
From what?
Other agency owners, big companies, who are these guys? Cowboys and shit. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and you think, well, you know, that's probably at some point in time you were the same. You know, if you started out and you've built a big agency, you've pissed people off for sure.
Yeah.
And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't have to watch it. Yeah.
Just turn it off.
I probably haven't taken the view of being particularly polarizing on any particular issue.
What do you reckon you'd be polarizing about? What gets you so passionate that you're like, mate, I'm going to rip this on a video and it's going to piss some people off?
Yeah, it's probably the work from work. You know, like it's not the work from home.
You want people to work from work?
Well, I want people to do what they feel makes them most successful. I just think, and my view is that, you know, you do your best work when you're around people all, you know, thriving together.
Yep.
This isn't really a job that you can be super successful in just by yourself.
Agreed.
It's a job that you need to rely on other people's relationships, the amount of people hunting in a pack, you know, meeting candidates, meeting clients. It's not an industry you can really do that by yourself.
No, and mate, osmosis is a massive thing, and you don't get that working from home.
No.
And you see, like, you come in today, you have a coffee, you're in the zone, you're buzzed, you got your work clothes on. Like, I don't reckon there's too many people that are doing that from home. No one's that disciplined.
Yeah.
They'll just chuck on an old shirt and be like, all right, let's have a crack today.
We're good until 11 o'clock and then I'll clean under the fridge and I'll answer the door and, new clothes arrive. I'll unpack them. I'll do a little dance in front of the mirror or something like that.
Because you consider the ROI of all these companies that are in the city, they built those buildings so they could get an ROI.
Yeah, totally.
They didn't create cities for everyone to work from home.
Yeah. Just because we've got, like, I know on a Tuesday, everyone works from home on a Tuesday, but it's probably only one guy that works from home on a Tuesday, and he's religious about his day on Tuesday. He gets a stack done, and I'm all about it. I'm totally fine with that. But everyone else chooses to come to the office, and I love the fact they choose to come to the office. That's great. Regardless of how I feel about it, I'm probably too vocal about how I feel about it.
Do you reckon it's roles? Like recruitment and sales?
Yeah.
100% office. But if you're like editing videos or doing anything else, do you reckon that deserves?
I certainly think that it's role specific. I certainly think that it's personality specific, or it could be task specific. So
yeah, there's too many variables. Hey,
there is a lot of variables, and it's hard to get it consistently right across an entire company. Also, so I'm very aware that it's a polarizing view. I think the way I best work is not at home with kids wanting to do their homework, kids want me to come play PlayStation, a crying baby, get the milk done, let's all eat lunch together. I'm not ready, I don't want that. Like, I can't work there. So it's, the time for me between leaving that chaos at home and arriving in the chaos at work, half an hour by myself is just blissful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that away from myself. So perhaps it's a selfish view of that it works for me. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but I think I could be particularly polarizing about that.
Tell everyone what you want to say, mate. Just look straight.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that is a strong view.
Yep.
What else would I be polarizing about? Just probably, there's certain jobs that you get paid an hourly rate, and there's certain jobs that require extra effort, whether that be outside of hours, a longer period of focus, perhaps a higher level of stress, and you get the rewards out of that, whether they be intrinsic or extrinsic. The more you put in, the more you get out.
Yep. And
there's so many conversations that I'm involved in where it's like, and I get involved. I subscribe to them as well. Like, fuck, how's Extra Recruiter growing at the rate they were growing? Gee, it'd be great to be them. Well, you got grey hairs more than I saw you last time. And there's
my kids don't know me. Nah,
yeah. Daddy?
Yeah, I think it's easy to look at everyone else and you compare your worst day to their best day.
Yes. Yeah, and what you see on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever your social media is just the best, that you've got. You're not going to share all of the bad things on LinkedIn all the time.
We're in this debate, and I think it's important, but like sharing the worst parts.
Yeah, a holistic kind of view of what it is, but you never want to I don't ever want to come across like I'm complaining. I've certainly got it better than a vast majority of people. I've certainly not got it as good as a lot of others. I'm not the hardest worker in the world. I'm certainly not the laziest bloke in the world. And our company's doing well, but it's not doing the best of anything. I'd like to be better than we are, but we're on a journey to get there. And but I don't ever want to come across like I'm complaining. So I don't know how to word that from a social media point of view. How are you finding it?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it either. That's why, because you want to be like vulnerable and outspoken, and people can buy into that, and there's transparency and authenticity. But yeah, if you look, because what may not be a problem to us now, but as you progress through business, could be a major problem for someone kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess it does come across like you're whinging, and business happens that fast. You sort of get over shit pretty quick.
Yeah.
We've had stuff happen that would be eye-watering to most people, and you just crack on and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you sort of ride a bit of a roller coaster, right? Like sometimes you're doing amazing things.
Right.
It feels like everything's coming together, and then
other times you can't even close a door.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, and then but the next day it turns back on again.
Yeah.
But you don't go and jump on LinkedIn and go, oh, what a day. I had 3 offers declined, and someone quit, and someone spent all this money on the company credit card, and
clients would be like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, exactly. He just clearly doesn't have it all as together as I thought he did. Yeah, spot on. But none of us have got it together, and nor do they.
Mate, everyone is making it up as they go.
Yeah, and yeah, still, what did I learn just recently? Class A, Class B shares. What the hell are they? I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. Because as I've brought people into the business, I've promised equity that they earn over a period of time, and then I'm working towards like, okay, well then, I just figured I could just give them 100 of my 1,000 shares, and we're all sweet. But I didn't realize there's going to be a tax.
Yep, tax event. They got to buy them.
Yeah, tax event for them.
Yep.
And that could be a material tax event for them.
Well, it's income.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But you didn't get any income. You kind of did, but it's all on paper.
Yeah, but then that's where like you get your business valued, and then it is actually a tangible asset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's where it got real for me. Because I was under the same assumption, like, oh yeah, you can just give people shares at certain points, and then they're like, no, mate, it doesn't work like that. But no one tells you that shit.
Yeah, spot on. So I didn't set my company up with a trust that owns the shares. I set it up as I personally own the shares in the company. So that's a dumb thing to do. I didn't know the best way to structure it when I set it up, and I'm really only just learning about that now. And then if I have to change that, there'll be a tax event for me personally, even though I didn't generate any more income. I essentially just sold my personal shares to my trust that I'm a trust. Doesn't make any sense, but it might cost me $100,000 or $200,000 or something like that. I don't want that. I'm not giving them $200,000.
Hey, they've got to work it out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have to work for it.
Yeah.
And if just me shifting some paper around makes the government $200,000. That's not
But mate,
unfair.
it was COVID. You were you kicked off. You weren't even in the headspace to think about, hey, if this business is doing 7 figures, 8 figures, and I've got to then give equity to someone, like it's not in your thought process when you start.
No, there's certainly a period of time where I didn't want to give anything to anyone. I felt like this is all mine. I've gone through all the stress. I'm not sharing it with anyone. But
What changed?
I realised I can't do it all alone, and also thought, what would have got me with the experience I had to come and join a me-like person out of a big firm like I was at. It wouldn't have been for a salary and a commission structure, and no skin in the game. So if I'm going to get people like Matt and people like Jack and people like Ben into the business, how can I entice them where they, skin's in the game? They might not hold as much risk as I hold, but they are, playing the long game at the same time as being rewarded well along the journey.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think there's so many of those adages, right? Go fast, go alone. Go far, go together. It really does come down to that. And then how do you reward and entice people to stay when they start performing and realize that, I'm pretty good at this. I don't need this infrastructure around me. I could probably do this alone. And how do you get that person to go, I'd have more fun doing it here. I've got a small percentage of a bigger pie, which ultimately might, bring me as much wealth in the future as I could make for myself.
Yeah.
So I'll stick around. So the Maries of the world that leave everything on the table every day, care about clients as if they're her family, would just have no option of not delivering.
Yep.
Giving her an option to be part of the business in the future. Haven't spoken to her about this, by the way. But that's on the cards that I'll bring up with her in a period of time.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And what was there what was the business like in your mindset, or you got to a tipping point where you're like, hey, I need to be able to offer this, or what, did you have a chat with someone? Did you have a chat? Because sometimes even me and Blake, we'd never had a business partner before. And we were like, we've got control. We can do our own things. We've got a team. Like, why would you need each other? And then now, in hindsight, and reality is now, 1 + 1 = 3.
Yes, yeah.
You can achieve 10 times more.
Be surprised how many times I bring up that equation.
Yeah, right.
Because that is the value of all of the people that you're working alongside as the agency gets bigger and bigger, is that without losing its entrepreneurial spirit, you've got to put some systems in place, and those systems, can sometimes constrain certain people, but they're needed so you can support one another, and then you can do more together than you could do individually alone.
Yep.
So what was the tipping point? It was a throwaway comment leaving Fat Angels just before the podcast that I was on earlier last year. And I said to Matt, if you ever want to come and not compete anymore, come and join us. And then he followed me up a couple of days ago, and then we got into a conversation about what it would look like. And, he didn't want to, he didn't want to join another firm and just be another number. He certainly didn't want to go and do it himself. All the stress that I explained to him about on a regular basis, I'm glad it's you, not me.
Yeah.
But he had so much experience to bring to the table, credibility in the Brisbane market, and I wanted to make sure it was worth his while over a period of time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about to shell out. Oh, there you go. Gift him in that business. So he'll work over a period of time to earn that equity, and I'll slowly drip feed it over a 5-year period, so that you're earning it over a material period of time. You've got to be consistent over a long period of time, and then there's a reward at the end of or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
100%.
And then shortly after that, I had already been kind of wooing Jack. He wasn't having a bar of it for a period of time, and then once he learned that Matt was leaving and joining us, It still took some convincing, actually. I took him out on the jet ski for a day after he's pretty hungover, and I dragged him out in the water, and we had a good time, good chat over lunch, and all the rest of it. And finally shook my hand just before going to Europe.
True. So a bit of smooching is how to get these recruiters.
I reckon that took 6 months or so. And there's a couple of guys that I keep and girls that I keep in touch with on a regular basis, just hoping one day they throw their arms up in the air and they call ex-recruiter on 1 hour, and then they call me the other hour, and hopefully I beat you.
Mate, it's interesting, and I've obviously there you go. That's just changing agencies. A gun recruiter takes 6 months of consideration to then change an agency. Our sales cycle 6 to 12 months to start an agency, so it's way longer. But us as recruiters, you get the shits if you call a candidate they don't want to change jobs.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you, mate?
No, well, I mean, I take the same approach I've always taken the same approach since doing more perm work than I did contract. But I never thought, you should just say yes because this is the job of a lifetime. But
I think most recruiters do, though. If they're calling someone off Seek or LinkedIn, it's like, why wouldn't you be interested, mate? This is the job.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I haven't sort of experienced people to get frustrated when they say no. I guess you get frustrated when they say, I am really active. Well, why aren't you interested in this particular job?
Yep.
But people have had a lot of choice over the last, or candidates, that is, employees have had a lot of choice over the last few years. And you have seen a couple of people make the wrong moves because of either money or ego or job title or whatever. And if they've made a wrong move, they're probably they put more consideration into the next move. And I like that. I like people thinking about their career.
Yep.
And I hope that when we approach clients and we work with clients, that we're working with clients that candidates actually want to work for. Makes our job a little bit easier. But if they're big name brands, they don't need us to attract good people.
Mate, Seek still use recruiters.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that was a line back in the day when Seek were really kicking off in Melbourne. They were the Robert Half office's biggest client in Melbourne.
Yeah, Costdog's done plenty of placements with them.
Yeah.
So, but clients put a $400 or $500 ad up and think that's their recruitment budget done.
Yeah, well, there's so many different sales rebuttals to that objection that if you didn't see the eyeballs, if those eyeballs didn't see your job ad, are they going to apply?
Never.
You've seen recently the few videos that we've put up when I've been interviewing a hiring manager about the job that they've got vacant. We just hope that the right set of eyeballs sees that, or the Seek ad, or the LinkedIn ad, or our LinkedIn email, or the email that comes out from our database on the various other sourcing strategies they've got, or we call the right person. We just want to put as many lines in the water as you possibly can and hope one of them catches the fish that we want to eat for dinner. The same goes for attracting recruiters.
Well, mate, that should be me and Blake have always said, that's technically they're the most views. If you look at your analytics, they're always the most people on LinkedIn. Yeah. And if you can attract a $500 million biller like you have, then they'll add more value to your business than winning one or two clients.
Yeah, without a doubt. And this is, I think, one of the biggest struggles that I could probably share on LinkedIn maybe, or be a bit vulnerable about, is I whinge all the time. It's like, how do I do everything and do it well? How do I every day turn up and build what I was used to building as an individual contributor? How do I pass those skills over into the team of rookies that we've got, early stage, maybe under 12 months or even under 2 years? How do I then support, say, Jack in his leadership responsibilities and make sure that he's picking up the skills that I was lucky enough to learn either on the job or theoretically as being part of a large company, and attract talent and not go broke and
not be stressed
and have a family
and
still, my own personal health and all those sort of things. Just, I think just work it out as you go, obviously, but you got to drop a ball somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I used to be my routine was wake up at 4:30, go to gym, be on my phone, check my emails first thing in the morning. And you can't even concentrate at gym. You're just rolling around in your head on what's next. I've got to have this conversation today. Oh, I really wish that didn't happen. And then you're already like in this state of almost like stress or angst as soon as you wake up. And then you'd be thinking about it through your morning routine. You get home, you're not really engaged with the family or the kids because all you're thinking about are these emails you've got to respond. And you probably, I would overhype them in my head. Like once you actually chat to the person, they're probably not as bad. But like those, I wasn't actually creating any space for myself. And then I'd be on the way home, I'd walk straight into home and then I'd be like, Dad, but it would be work dad. And I'd be walking in on the phone and being like, all right, what's for dinner? And dinner's probably in the microwave because I'm home late. And then the kids are already washed and showered. And then it was just like this continuous. And I'm like, this isn't even enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm not filling my cups up anywhere. And it wasn't until like I set some boundaries where I could actually become certain people throughout the day. So then now I just don't check my phone until I'm in the car on the way to work.
Yes. Yeah, that's funny. I sit in the car with it running and I'll either finish up a phone call.
You're sitting out the front of the house.
At the front of the house. And I'll respond to a couple of texts or emails and then I get in the door. I'm not brilliant at this, by the way. I still get distracted. It's a bit of a shut off, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're engaged in a text message, but it is also a shut off from all of the chaos that's going around at home. I got to get better at that. But I try not to be, on the phone as I walk in the door. I try to be there for a hug or a high five or how was school?
Yep.
I do still get the good,
not much.
Yeah. Just elaborate a little bit.
But yeah, I just really focused on like going for a 5-minute walk or just doing some breathing and centering and being like, all right, I've got to be the best dad walking into this room. And those little like, once you learn those things and be committed to them, then it's been a huge difference to be able to, because you can't do everything. And then also accepting that the to-do list is never going to end. Yeah. So there's no point stressing over trying to complete it every day.
Well, I think on the trying to manage your own personal billings, I still feel like I've got to contribute a little bit because then I don't have to share a commission percentage of that with anybody and I can actually leave that in the business.
Yep.
That helps from a bottom line point of view. I don't need to do much anymore, but I now think that, if I've got a contract role or a temp role, Marie's better to work the client because she's going to give it 100% of her energy. I'm going to give it about 20%. It's better to give Jack or Matt or Shai or somebody else or Ben the opportunity to work with tech or perm finance roles. It's better to give them that because they'll give it 100% and I'll give it 20%. It was actually Sam from Cornerstone who I think you had her on the podcast. I was listening to her. She said the biggest shift for her was to pull herself off a desk and focus 100% on trying to build the business. And I've just wrestled with that a couple of times and all right, now guys, you do all the work and I'll just work on trying to train people and keep up with everything and hire more people. And then all of a sudden I'm sharing 30-40% of everything that comes in with everyone else. And then, God, and I think she said at 10 people, it was like the least profitable until she got to 20 or so. And I haven't quite got to 10, but I'm definitely seeing how that could be the case.
Yep.
Definitely seeing how that could be the case. More desks, more technology, more licenses, more commission, more salaries, and then, more opinions. So that they're all the sort of challenges now that I'm coming up against. How do I get through that? How do I break through that barrier? Sitting with one of the guys yesterday, he said, all right, we need to hire 3 people at once. Oh God, 3 experienced people who want to leave the agency that they're in, join us all at the one time and, train them all together. That way we can save some time putting people on board and all the rest of it. And I'm all for it. Like,
that's one of the greatest theories I've ever heard.
Yeah, well, it's easier to do with rookies with no experience because you're not trying to bring experience across from another agency.
Yep.
But if there are 3 individuals with accounting recruitment experience listening to this now, hit me up.
Yeah, we all want them.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there are any recruiters out there that are interested to find out what it's like to have a VA support them in their role, whether that be to bill more, reduce tasks that they don't enjoy doing, or be a more effective recruiter in their niche, then we definitely recommend reaching out to the outsourced people or top. Reach out to them, inquire on how they can implement a VA in your agency and to support you. And if you mention ex-recruiter or Confessions of a Recruiter, they will give you a 13% discount off your bill per month on this VA that will allow you to scale your business, scale your desk, and to bill more and make more money. So go reach out to the outsourced people, say Confession sent you, get your discount, and see what is possible.
You've tripled the business since last time you were on, which is about 18
months
ago, yeah. So you mentioned a couple of things, but it's like relinquishing control, being able to step back, mentor, nurture the staff, but then also, be that BD element and that juggling act between, sharing it with the team. Reflecting back, what did you not know that you wish like you did now? Because there's a lot of people listening that would be like, I want to scale a team. I don't know who to hire, how to hire. When I get my team, what are the pitfalls or shit you wish you did or didn't do?
Yeah. I think when I worked for Half again, they had a great sort of back office training function and support from directors or the sort of non-billing management team, and they would get involved in the training of you hiring rookies. Then they'd go off-site, they'd do their training off-site, they'd come back and start producing. And then as a kind of division manager or senior manager, you're working with them on the job. So my approach was, and I'd had some success hiring Reggie and in those early days and training someone with no experience. And I thought I could probably do that. But that's without the background, big company training machine that I was used to. So I probably hired, I wouldn't go out and hire rookies too early on. I'd do that maybe once we're 15 or 20 and we've got, say, 12 or 16 of those people producing and profitable. Then that way there's more learning by osmosis that you mentioned earlier. And there's a bit more support around, and we're probably at a time where if we've got that many people in positive production and profitably contributing, then I could spend a lot more time not worrying about the business development aspects and just focus on these training programs. And I've spent a lot of time over the last 6 or 8 months producing a rookie onboarding program.
Oh, mate, tell us about it. Well,
there's like 13 slide decks that cover off the system that is recruitment that I can see if every big business has got a system as to how you get from, I don't know, an inquiry to a sale and how do you repeat that. I've tried to break that down into a system and then put it into modules so I can train people in the first 13 weeks and get them to sort of see how it all comes together. And then I'm just working on a good to great kind of program at the moment for the Maries of the world that have 12 months in, produced, in the hundreds for a quarter. And now they want to go from, okay, you're positively contributing. Now, how do you make it really worthwhile coming to work every day and get to the 200 pluses in a quarter? And that's just, higher quality client visits, staying closer to the dollar, managing different sort of operating models around where are all the temps sitting in the market, who's hiring, who's not, how do you manage your client list, what do you talk to them about, these sorts of things, but also breaking down things like grit and work ethic and inquisitiveness and trying to do those sorts of things. So I work with an external consultant around leadership development that part of that program will outsource, and then get them to read a couple of books over that period that then they got to come back to me with a bit of a book review.
Yeah, nice.
What do they get out of it? So it's interactive and I administer it. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm only 2 modules into that. But that's supposed to be 13 modules over a 6-month period as well. So try to deliver that every fortnight. So it's a little more drip feed at that point in time.
More palatable.
Yeah, a bit more manageable. The weekly onboarding of a rookie is time consuming, really time consuming.
Yeah, because it's hard when you start because you're like cash flow's tight. It depends how much you are confident to lean into your personal brand. Like obviously the P&C Partners had no reputation, but you, Lee, has a strong reputation in the market, right? And people would see your 8-10 year career and a high performer and be like, I want to work for this guy. So like being able to dissect that and be like realizing that, yeah, P&C might not have the brand it does now like it did 4 years ago.
Yep.
Is really hard as a small business owner.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, since investing more in trying to get that brand out there, following your guys' lead, and investing more in that social media presence and higher quality kind of content, got a lot more presence out there. There's a lot more familiarity in the eyes of the people who follow us.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when we make a phone call, people recognize, oh, I've seen you guys. You're everywhere. Seen you advertise on Seek, you advertise on LinkedIn, see you post on LinkedIn, and not make it about, come work with me, I'm a recruiter, this is what I do. Every single post, it's little bits and pieces. We were talking earlier about being polarizing. I'm just not sure I want to go too hard down the polarization.
Leave that for Blake, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
the target market that you guys are going after.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's mate, and you've got top performers like
really good performers. Jack, Matt, Ben, and Marie, all really high performers. Shy's coming out of the blocks storming. So fingers crossed we had another one to that. And we just need to put another person in perm accounting, another person in contract accounting. Marie really needs a buddy. It was supposed to be me, but I'm not as productive as I'd like to. Maybe I've promised her that I was. And then Ben, we need to sort of build out technology. It's pretty exciting, kind of kicking off technology. That was one of the goals over the course of the financial year.
Well, they're so closely, like a CFO and a CTO are speaking so closely these days. They go hand in hand, so it's only natural.
Yeah,
that's happened.
Something I'm relatively familiar with in business I came from. I'd like to build out all of those other different divisions, be it marketing and all of the corporate services type stuff, HR.
So that's the plan.
That'd be the plan. Just not be anything frontline, be everything in that support corporate services at a qualified level. Not so much at the support level, but the divisions that help run the corporate side of the business.
Awesome. And what's the culture like that? Because, mate, you can tell a culture from a mile away. You got all the staff members are on camera. They look happy as people usually, most companies, they cringe at that and they're like, oh, mate, or like it's just the directors leading the charge.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of conscious that I didn't want just me being the face of everything. Like at a certain point in time, Jack, Marie, Matt, Shy, Ben, they're all going to be the ones dealing with clients. And they need their own personal brand out there as well. They need their own opinions, their own following, their own client base. And if it's just me every day, well then I think people will get pretty sick of it. But I do feel like they really want to do it.
Yeah, that's credit to you, mate.
Imagine that it's certainly not comfortable. It's still not comfortable for me. Sometimes I turn up the least prepared. Like they all put a lot of effort into preparing for those short 1 minute videos.
Yep.
I turn up and kind of wing it. I prepared last time and I was really sick and I was just hopeless at it. So just watch out LinkedIn. The next videos are a bit doughy. Yeah, I think they like it. It's something that I talk about when I'm hiring people. Is how comfortable would you be in front of a camera? Because it would be something that will build your brand, and it's important this day and age. You can't get across to as many clients quickly just by ringing them and leaving voicemails or sending them emails. You can get more people to see who you are and what you like, and then hopefully when you do make a phone call, you're a little more familiar than you would be otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know why more recruiters personal branding is a big thing, but I think where most people struggle is it's all intangible. It's really like, you know, real estate agents, anything that's selling a product, you can easily get in front of it, but you got to get super creative on adding value, thinking about it, getting it out there. Because I reckon it'll be whoever the best marketer is in recruitment wins the game.
Yeah. Well, I think it's consistency. Got to be doing it every single month, but that's time consuming. It's not within our skill set really, and you can't see a direct result of that. But I keep talking about with the guys, you know, do we want to keep doing this? Are we feeling like it's something that adds us value? And the resounding answer is always yes. So it is something that I'll continue to invest in. Got a good partnership with the guy that does all the videos and editing and all that sort of stuff. Takes feedback really well. I'm pretty good at giving it, and he's so he's pretty good. I think how you present is a good reflection of how you actually deliver. Mm-hmm. So then you got to deliver to the same expectation that you present.
Well, you're on show. There's accountability piece to it.
Yeah. I'd cringe if I made a comment and I put a post up, and then someone comments, "Oh, this guy's full of shit" or something like that. I would just like, God. But yeah, you're out there. You're accountable. You're responsible. And
mate, you did a speaking gig as well.
Oh, so in April, yeah, good one. That was a pretty big win. So it started by meeting a lot of candidates through a recruitment process that we went through for a CFO of a privately held company, Fitstop. I used to work with Beck Hull, who's Pete and Beck started Fitstop, and as such became friends with them over that period of time and recruited Pete's current CFO. And through that, talking to candidates, they were like, "Oh, I don't want to work for a founder. They're just too eclectic, too erratic for me."
True.
And accountants by nature are a little more rigid. They like governance and they like big bank balance. So, but entrepreneurs really happy with.
Don't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah, no. I just want our clients to love us. I want the product to be unreal. I don't care if we run out of money. Nah, spend it. Don't worry about it. So typically accountants aren't that happy about that level of risk.
Yeah.
But then some finance people like it. They like the challenge all the time. They like the ambiguity and running at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they almost look up to the entrepreneur wanting to be more like that in their own personality. So I was really keen to get the founders of those three companies. Pete, who ended up being in the US and couldn't make it, but he introduced me to Jason at LSKD, and I'd still had Simon's number in my phone from like 2012 when I took a reference when he was a tiny, big comparatively to me, but he might have been 15 or 20 million revenue at that point in time and had the one Brisbane store.
Wow.
And I had a finance manager that worked for him, and I had to take a reference from him, and I had his number from that time, and I just blew his phone up. Jason was really. How
many times did you call him?
Oh, I don't know. I reckon I'd send him texts. I comment on YouTube videos and LinkedIn and Instagram posts. I sent him emails, and eventually wore him down. And he said to me at the event, he's like, I could tell this was on your vision board or something. Like, yeah, you really wanted this, and I couldn't say no. Not after the 700th phone call. I don't know how many phone calls, but I've definitely sent him a lot. Yep. I got a little bite from him, and then once I got the bite from him, I wasn't letting him fall off the hook.
Yeah,
and thankfully, turned up because we got 80 of our clients there. Put a big show on down at Bougainvillea House at Howard Smith Wharves there.
Mate, awesome.
I've always thought just whatever you're going to do, just do it really, really well.
Yeah,
and that was an event that I was kind of really proud of. Great return on investment, great feedback. I would have thought the video will have gotten more views on YouTube, but maybe that's just now the influencer in me.
Yeah.
Getting hung up on views.
Yeah, mate, it's like, you look at those 80 people that are all going to be talking about you and the night to their friends, they're at barbecues, like that's worth 10 times more than a view on a social media platform.
I did think, reflecting on it, I could have done a better job at asking questions. I was just so and I sort of thought about you guys as well, being a host in this podcast all the time, asking questions of the guest. God, how do you? It's a skill that you develop over time. You've got to practice it, because I turned up a fucking rookie, like proper rookie. I had all these questions, and I'm really interested in both of those guys, their businesses and their journey. And I couldn't think of one thing to ask. All I wanted to make sure was that Jason got as much time as Simon got talking. And I was almost like I was counting in my head, 25 seconds. All right, good. I'll make sure Simon gets 25 seconds now, instead of thinking about what was actually important.
Yeah. Jason's a legend too. We did a podcast with him. Well, I did. I just had a crack at a podcast in like COVID.
Oh,
and
right.
he came on. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
He's a legend.
Lovely bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so, what he's done and the determination over a long period of time before got any traction. Holy moly. Like that is entrepreneurship. That is inherently like this. I'm not going to fail at this. I can't work out how to do it. I am not going to.
The City Beach situation, and then going online and changing to fitness, and then it working out after 14 years.
Yeah, and just it must have been a number of different things for him that all sort of shifted, whether it be Loose Kid Industries into LSKD. That's a wild story, but it can't have just been letters on a page or an emblem on a shirt or whatever. It had to have been more than that. And he does attribute that to a lot of books and understanding, why he was doing it all and what he actually was, and an identity, as opposed to trying to do gloves and jet ski jackets and motocross helmets and everything to everyone. And going back to that, am I polarizing, or am I just
a good humble bloke?
He's a good humble bloke, but he's not everything to everyone.
No.
Kind of honed it into, I'm just going to do activewear, fitness apparel, and this is going to be the brand. And right brand, right mentality, right time, unreal. And now they're going hard on the retail side of things, where everyone else is retracting in their retail space and just going online.
Yeah,
like that's another big set of balls going after massive stores like that. That's unreal.
Yeah, it's an Aussie success story. Are you going to do more events like that?
Yeah, I'd like to do one of those a year. I mean, it's not an immaterial amount of money to spend on an event, but I want to make sure that, like, prior to that, it was very much about, whether it be the air show or big Christmas parties or those sorts of things, was all really social.
Well, yeah,
been really social. That one was me kind of thinking, well, I've got to do something that's meaningful. I got a really great client of mine, and the biggest client that we've got at P&C Partners. He said to me once, I went to this event that another recruiter organised, and it was supposed to be the CFO of the future mentoring event. It was over a long period of time, and I was in a room, and I wasn't surrounded by the people I wanted to be surrounded by in an event like that, and I just vowed I would never go to another recruiter hosted event. So I always had that in the back of my mind, that I am never going to have anyone say that about any event that I host.
I just need absolute big dogs that no one can compete with.
Yeah, well, this is it, right? So, I wanted Pete there, of course. I'm not glad he wasn't there, but I'm glad that I didn't have to count how many minutes he was on
across all three,
because that would have sent me into a spiral. But it was much easier to host just two people. It was much easier to get them working together and the topics to kind of complement each other.
Yep.
And but all of them had something in common, right? Whether it be fitness or apparel or moving into the States, they had all done that, and so they all had some consistency around what they were doing, the industry that they were in, and all being sort of mid to late 30, early 40-year-old demographic, and founder led. Whether they be on the journey or had recently exited, that was all pretty good. But I think well-known people in Brisbane as well. It was good to get those people together. When Simon said he was in, it was it was like 7 o'clock or 7:30 at night. I'm in the office by myself, and I just really wished that a few people were around. I did have a punch in the air. Yeah, it was a good little win. But yeah, I want to do more of that. Don't know what the topic would be though.
What was the topic of that night?
Founders and finance. So
oh yeah, I remember that.
Finance people working with founders and trying to get in their heads. How do the founders get out of the finance people? Because there's real polar opposite kind of views on the world, right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we had a thing the other day. So we just hired our first CFO, Rav.
Oh, great.
And he comes from KX Pilates.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, the Pilates franchise?
Yeah, familiar.
He started there. They had like 26, 27 franchises, and they've got like 111 now over an 8-year journey.
Okay.
And he's like, mate, I feel like I'm back at the start of KX Pilates with ex-recruiter.
Well, good. Just do the same thing you
do
did
the same
there.
thing and we'll all be happy.
Yeah.
So,
it's not too different, right? Like they're essentially just little franchises, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Licensing, franchising, very similar. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm like, it's, I think if someone were to, and you interview multiple people and they come from that big business mentality, it's so hard trying to communicate to them.
Yeah, because like I know what I do with my company and how I have got away with things in the past that, with a better CFO, I've got a fractional one that's outsourced. I'd be a long way before I put anyone on permanently. But he's pulling me into line a lot and giving me less rope than I've had before, but understands that I'm not the highest paid person that works at P&C Partners, that's for sure. And as such, you do things. You put a coffee that you that was probably not a client visit on the company, but they've got to understand that, and then not make you feel like they're stopping you from being you and putting the brakes on you so much. They've got to pat you on the ass and go, you'll be right. Yeah,
and that's what I like about Rav. But you want someone who's a business equal, where if you're like you're getting a bit loose and silly ideas, where like, no mate, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, they can see your passion for it, and they're like, yeah, right, that sounds smart.
Yeah.
You just need people that are business equals, because like I think founders, and maybe you can surround yourself with yes men, and then you can just derail a company really fast.
Yes, without a doubt. That that event that we were just talking about, when I set out to set that up, I thought, we'll spend $4,000.
Mate, Voganville is about 12 and a half.
Yeah, $4,000 didn't even get us in the door. And once you put some videography and that sort of stuff together,
drinks on, nibbles,
drinks, the event itself, that was it. Those guys did it off their own back. They didn't do it because I was paying them or anything. They did it out of their own generosity, which was pretty wild as well. That's incredibly generous, because I kind of took a leaf out of lots of stuff I've listened to from Simon, is getting that brand equity to rub off. He's got his own personal brand attached to Culture Kings, Jason and LSKD, Lee Pollard and P&C Partners. I was trying to ride their coattails a little bit, like, here's these brands and here's this brand you don't, but we're affiliated in some way. That's kind of what I was looking for there.
Well, mate, it worked. I saw it and I was like, good on him.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
It takes a lot of people don't understand how much bloody time and effort and money goes into it. But
also people don't realize how much people want to help until you ask them.
Yeah, I think so.
Like those guys would have been pumped to come on.
Yeah, they were. Jason was even saying, nervous, really? Yeah. What are you nervous about? But it's it's not unlike coming on here and having a chat with you. It's am I telling people things that they would otherwise not know or need a reminder about, or am I just flapping my gums?
Yeah, for sure. So, mate, you've got an unlimited holiday policy.
Yes. Yep. Well, it's not without having been earned, by the way, right? So you don't just get.
How does it work?
It's so if you bill over $100,000 in a quarter, and you then you unlock the opportunity to have unlimited holidays. So we'll always shut down over Christmas for a couple of weeks. So people's half of their holidays get eaten up in that. Half of their statutory holidays get eaten up in that. And then the other 10 days, if you just have a long weekend every now and then and 1 week off, there's your 4 weeks a year depleted. I like having a holiday. Like, I like resetting. It's a stressful job. You're constantly on. It's tiring. You need time to reset. But, you've got to earn it. You can't just, be unprofitable for the business and then take 7 weeks a year off. So my mindset is, show me that you can achieve, and that is earn over 100 grand in a quarter, which is good performance, I think, for an average recruiter. If you can get over 100 grand in a quarter, that's really good. What you should be striving for is 150 to 200, and that's, if you can do that consistently, you're a superstar. And anything over that, well, God status. If you can get over 100, you've unlocked that. And then I want you to show me that you're doing the activities that will lead you to be able to do that again next quarter. So in our business, I want you meeting 5 clients a week, and I want you meeting 5 good quality candidates a week. And if you can do that consistently, you'll always have consistent job flow. You'll always have consistent candidate flow, and billing 100 grand a quarter will just be a byproduct of that activity. So show me you can do 5 and 5 for the quarter before you ask for the leave, and be in and have billed 100 grand the quarter before you ask for the leave, and then you can do what you need to do. But if you go on 3 weeks of holiday every quarter, unlikely you're going to be meeting
the 100K,
65 clients and 65 candidates in a quarter, and unlikely you're going to consistently hit over 100.
5 clients and 65 candidates in a quarter.
Yeah, 13 weeks, five each.
How'd you come to that?
Well, you work back from what it takes to bill 100,000. Our average fee is about 18 grand a fee. Call it 20 for the sake of the maths in my head. So you need to make 5 full placements a quarter, in and around that $130,000, $140,000 salary range will get you about 20 grand. So in order to make 5 placements, industry average job fill rate's probably about 30 or 40%. We're better than that. But if you just use an industry average, so in order to fill 5 jobs in a quarter, at 30%, you need 3 and a bit times, you need 15 to say 18 jobs in a quarter. Again, call it 20 jobs over the course of a quarter. And so if you're going to get 20 jobs, you need to get a job every 3rd client meeting. And there's your 60, 65 clients. If it was 12 weeks, it'd make that maths work a little better.
Yeah. Nice.
But if you're meeting 60 clients, you pick up 20 jobs, you fill 30% of them, there's your 6 or ish. And even if you fell short of that, and that would be for a new rookie, right? Like Jack would do that standing on his ear. Matt would do that. Matt would do more of the client side than probably the candidate side, but he'd do that standing on his ear. And I don't really sort of worry about their activity too much. But if you're a rookie in your first 12, 18, 24 months, you've got to do that level of activity and you've got to do that consistency so you can get a better closing ratio. Therefore, you then don't have to meet that volume of people. Like, Jack's would be like 80, 90% fill rate, which means that he doesn't need that many jobs on to get over 100 grand, but he gets that volume of jobs on and then does over 200 and 200 plus.
And I reckon majority of recruiters don't even know their numbers.
Yeah, well, that's all part of that good to great program as well. Is understanding your efficiency equation. How, what do you want to earn? What do you need to build to earn that bonus? Then, so it's not about 100 grand anymore. It's about, I want to earn a 30, 40, 50, $60,000 bonus. Or what do I need to earn? What do I need to build to earn that money? How many placements do I need to make to do that? And then work backwards from there to how many calls do I need to make in a day? And then you keep yourself accountable for it. So you know the equation, you know the numbers. If you don't do the numbers, then you're never going to meet the goal that you set yourself.
Got it worked out.
Yeah, well, apart from worked out. It sounds good in theory. And then, just hopefully you hire the right people that can manage themselves. The book Good to Great talks about just hiring the right people that don't need to be managed.
Yeah.
Well, then they do need to be led. They do need to be directed and supported. But I don't want to be there saying you have to do this.
It's a refreshing feeling when you hire A players. Hey, you're like, why was life 10 times more stressful? It was just it's a complete game changer when people come in, they see your vision, and then they add their own spin, their own value, and then that's how you grow.
Yeah. I think over the there's certainly been people have worked for me where I've been going home every night and I've been talking about in a frustrated tone about that person, and then with that person no longer around,
breath of fresh air.
Nick's like, oh, you don't. What problems do you have today? Oh, none really. She's like, you're a different person, and it's it wasn't not until you sort of look back and go, oh, why was I spending so much time on that? It's like I'm trying to make someone do something that they clearly don't want to do. Well, then,
and it's better for them as well.
Yeah,
to go.
Yeah, it's spot on. Then you can get on with your life. If you don't want to do it here, we can keep going and doing what we're doing. You can get on with your life, and both of us that are happier for it have to be.
100%.
And I think that's probably something that's ringing true in my mind more recently, is just being relentless on making sure the people that work there actually want to be there, actually want to turn up. They're keen to do what they say they want to do. They're not just feeding me what I want to hear.
Yep. That's the biggest cut through as a business owner, hey, being able to just not get told what you want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And then being able to pick up when you're getting told just what you want to. Is that true? Like, it sounds true. But yeah.
But it's mate, credit to you. It's been a big couple of years, and it's exciting what's happening for you.
Yeah, that's I'm really happy with what we've done over the last 12 months. I'm happy with I set some goals for this 12 months. Happy to say after the first quarter I am within 100 grand of what the run rate of what I wanted to meet from a revenue point of view.
Awesome.
So that's pretty cool. Which means that if we ramp up at the same rate that we've been ramping up, I should blow that target out of the water over the next 12 months. So
there'll be a team 10-15 next year.
Well, I don't know if we go that fast, but certainly should be approaching 10.
Yep.
Yeah, by the start of next financial year.
Awesome, mate.
That'd be the goal.
It really, like, anything's possible, and I think having your own business, having your own agency, there's a lot of stress, a lot of hard work that goes into it. But when it works, mate, it's the greatest.
Yeah, there's an incredible feeling of pride. That's for sure. Incredible feeling of pride, and you just got to make sure it keeps going the same direction. There's obviously the impending opposite of that if it all goes pear, but it's not looking like that just at the moment.
Well, the worst case scenarios that rattle around in your head, they never play out.
Yeah. That's scorched earth. A mate of mine always talks about scorched earth. What's
that?
It's like, what's your baseline? Where could you fall to and still be okay? And you've sort of got to think back in your life. Where was the absolute rock bottom? When was I the most broke? When was I, I was probably the most unhappy, but I was still alive, and I managed to end up here as a result of being there in the past. I could fall back there and do it all again.
Do you want to?
But you wouldn't want to. Yeah, of course. But you could if it all went pear-shaped. So take a punt, have a crack, and worst case scenario is you end back there and you do it all again, and you don't make the same mistake again.
Yeah, true.
So it's kind of a nice, empowering feeling to have a punt at something. But then you need a CFO to pull you up. Okay, let's not all. Yeah, I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah, 100%. If you could write a letter to yourself at the start of your career, what advice would you give to yourself and why?
Probably start hiring people earlier. It was lonely for a long time at the start. Maybe COVID got in the way of that. But if I had my time again, doing it with people has been a lot more fun. Celebrating those wins in the early days was fun. And if you hire the right person, my feeling at that time was it's going to cost me money. It's going to take away from the income that I've been generating, but actually it added considerably to that. So I would probably have taken that punt a little earlier.
Sweet, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Mate, thanks for having me again.
Congrats to the success of it all. And mate, building a really strong, high-performing culture that's obviously dominating the market in accounting and finance, and now tech.
Thanks for having me.
Easy.
Legend.
Thanks for tuning in to another Confessions of a Recruiter podcast with Blake and Declan. We hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value and insights out of this episode. If you do have any questions or you would like to recommend someone to come on the Confessions podcast, we would love any introductions. And remember the rule of the podcast: like, share, and recommend it to a friend. Until next time.